Hey, yo, what's up? Schizo just here. I kind of wanted to just talk about the bantamweight and featherweight picture going forward. We've got Sean O'Malley, who's defending his bout once against Marlon Chito Vera. Got the decision, unanimous 50-45 shutout, basically. One judge had a 50-44. Already went over this, but then you got Topuria, who just became champ by defeating one of the GOATs at featherweight. So it's he wants to call his shot and he wants to move up in weight and fight Islam. He's calling out Khabib, he's calling out Conor, he's calling out everybody. But O'Malley's calling out Topuria, and a lot of people are thinking that they have a lot of unfinished business in their own division and stuff to do, like a lot of work to do there before they start doing that. O'Malley has had one defense, but there are some guys, hungry guys in the weights, waiting for their opportunity. Same thing at Topuria's division, kind of, like we'll get to it. Look at the rankings right now. I got them ready to go. So let's see what we got here. We got, yeah, Sean O'Malley, bantamweight champ, number one. Well, I'll probably just talk about the top five in both of these divisions like at the same time, since these guys are kind of rumored to fight each other, which if you look at the rankings in a way, and there is an argument that it does make sense that these two fight just because of the landscape of the division. And because Topuria kind of has, he's talked about it where what I get from his talks is like, why does he need to go and destroy guys or beat guys that Volk already beat to prove? You know what I'm saying? Like he wants fresh contenders, guys that aren't in the, necessarily, they never had a title shot already. Volk didn't beat him, Max didn't beat him, which is hard to find because Max basically cleared out that division. He was undefeated for so long. And then Volk came along and, then Volk had Max's number. So these guys have cleared out the division. So I kind of get where Topuria is coming from. He wants new contenders. He wants new challengers that he feels deserve the shot. So, yeah, so we look at their, obviously number one, let's just do bantamweight first, but number one at Merab, obviously he deserves that shot. How many has he won in a row? Let's check it out. He's definitely won. Like, I think he was on a 10-fight win streak I seen. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, he's on a 10-fight win streak. So you got Merab. Obviously, he's the most deserving, like, contender right now. That it's, everybody wants to see Merab. He's a likable guy. So maybe that's a fight they could make at 306. He's kind of like he wanted to, I don't want to say wannabe Mexican, but they embraced him in Mexico. I think it's because of his personality, his fight style. He could probably go do that 306 and come out with a poncho like he did and a sombrero type hat, Mexican flag. He could probably pull that shit because he has that personality to do it, and he has a good fight style. He has a relentless fight style. It's not so much barn burning, stand toe to toe and throw bombs like a typical Mexican fighter, but it's still nonstop, relentless, and ultra aggressive and great cardio. So ultimate toughness. So that's always going to be there. But anyway, we look at number one. Number two, they have Aljo still at number two at bantamweight. So who knows? Obviously, Aljo's moving up to fight at featherweight against Calvin Kattar, and he's ranked eighth actually. I think Calvin Kattar's ranked eighth. So Aljo is going to be up in that division. I don't think he's going to return. The weight cut's been too much. He was weighing 170, 175, cutting down to like 135 just for that day or whatever, but still has to drain you. And he's a thick guy. He's got a lot of muscle, all that. So, but anyway, so Aljo's probably out of there. Corey Sandhagen, he's definitely kind of right in the mix as being deserving. He's beaten a lot of guys. He has had the loss to Peter Yan at 4, so he has lost to him. And so it's a tough sell right now for Corey. Definitely with Merab on a 10-fight win streak. To me, that's the fight that has to happen is Merab. For O'Malley. And I think he said it's exciting time. So I'm thinking maybe he is going to get Merab at 306, or maybe he'll get his Ilias fight in 2025 if he keeps winning or whatever, if he defends the belt once. And, it seems like Sean, I think he's a tougher matchup than a lot of people think for Merab just because of his length, his footwork, his ability to put together shots and set up power shots and throw bombs. Merab's tough as hell too, but there's no way in how he's taking all the punches and knees to the face like Marlon, like Chito. Like no one had Chito. Nobody has a chin like Chito. He's crazy. He has a crazy chin. So he has that freaking, he's got that third world chin. Like where he could take whatever you got, and he's going to keep coming forward. So unbelievable, actually. But yeah, so I think that's kind of the landscape. That's the top 5 anyway. Cejudo's right there, but he's got to get a couple wins to come back. I think Cejudo, Vera, they're both coming off losses. That could make sense, but I don't know about that one. Just Figueiredo's going to fight soon. Maybe the loser of him and Cody Garbrandt. I'm not really sure what could be next for Cejudo. I know I did hear him call out Chito, but kind of that's kind of like, damn, he just got beat up for 5 rounds, and now you're calling him out, like, But whatever, it's still a good matchup. Cejudo always brings a lot of buzz and a lot of personality, and he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He's a legendary fighter. Triple C. Shout out to Triple C, but could be past his prime. So Vera, that would be an interesting fight, or Jan even, maybe Jan and Vera. That'd be crazy. I think we've seen that, or Sandhagen. Really, see what's next for these guys. There's gonna be a lot of guys just kind of waiting around. I don't see Cejudo fighting Sandhagen. Maybe they'll rematch Jan and Sandhagen. He's just kind of waiting right there. But he actually said he'll take on Umar, who's actually ranked 10th. But that's what's kind of cool. That's what's cool about Sandhagen too. He's not just saying, "All right, I'm gonna wait around. I deserve this shot," and all that, because he knows that he got Merab right there. So that would be a good fight just to see what Umar, he showed. He was a little human in his last fight when he got cracked and got dropped, or got hurt anyway, then came back. So that's pretty much it for that. I think the bantamweight is kind of straightforward. It's either Ilias or Topuria for O'Malley that makes sense right now, or Merab or Sandhagen. That's a good matchup. They're both taller, lankier type guys, a lot of reach, so a lot of good movement. That could be good, both rounded. That could be an interesting matchup, but there's no way Sandhagen just jumps over Merab. Not at this point right now. Merab's on fire. So then it brings us to the featherweight. Ilia Topuria is a champion, and obviously Volk's next in line. If that's what he wants, which I feel like for sure he should just take some time off after that last fight where he got knocked out, second round, second straight knockout loss. Not to pour it on Volk, just saying, try to recover, get your bearings back. Just, let that brain heal up all the way. I don't know. I don't get it with Volk, because I felt like he was already talking about moving up to 155, like a permanent move anyway. So why not just do that and not even worry about coming back to get your title? I get it. You want the belt. You're going to do that, but he's a pretty big name himself. So any fight he makes at lightweight is still going to be a lot of buzz. He's going to make a big money. He could headline any fight night, he was going to be on any main card, co-main, every single time, regardless of an opponent. So I feel like Volk should probably just think about 155, but that's his bout. He wants it back. That was his bout. And like I said, he was one of the featherweight goats. Him, Max, and Aldo were all those 3, and he beat Max and Aldo. So yeah, that's a tough situation for Volk, 2 straight knockout losses. But honestly, looking at the division, I kind of like Max Holloway, obviously, Topuria. But what sucks is Holloway committed to UFC 300 for the BMF bout against Justin Gaethje. So that he kind of took himself. Gaethje, that's another video, but Gaethje and Max, that fight, that should not have happened, because they both would have had title shots coming up. You got Islam calling out Dustin Poirier, who lost to Justin, but Justin has this fight at 300 in the way. So now it's like Poirier could jump right back over the guy he just lost to get a title shot. So it's a little strange. He really didn't need to take that fight. Same thing with Max Holloway. If he had just waited a little bit, been a little patient, he could have been next in line for Ilia Topuria, wherever, Spain, International Fight Week, whenever time Topuria be ready again. But yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're still going to have a crazy-ass matchup with, Holloway and Gaethje. But as far as this division, because Holloway is tied up, and Volk, he has to have at least a 6-month suspension. Brian Ortega kind of does make sense. A lot of people are just overlooking Ortega because he was off for so long. Only fought, I think 4 times in 6 years. Had a couple losses, had a bad break against Yair in the first fight, but got his rematch against Yair Rodriguez, and that he looked great in that fight. He took damage after injuring himself in his introduction when he turned his ankle or twisted his ankle. and then he got cracked by Yair, but after that he took over and just dominated, and then ended up tapping him out. So it'd be an interesting matchup. When watching that fight at first, I was thinking, man, like Ilya will destroy both these guys that night. But Ortega is a tough fighter. He's a tough guy himself. He has a good chin and a lot of heart as well. And as far as the ground game, who knows? Ilya has been training jiu-jitsu since he was a kid, like 4 or 5 years old, and has a Greco-Roman background. And then you got Ortega, who's basically Henry Gracie's protege, like stepson type thing, where he just kind of took him under his wing as a teen and just kept it with him that whole time. So Ortega is a beast. We all know that he's a beast on the ground. So that'd be an interesting matchup if it goes there. Obviously, hands-wise, just boxing, I would lean Ilya all day just because he's more technical and really defensively responsible. But at the same time, Ortega does, I think he has shown a nice kickboxing game. So those body kicks, head kicks, that could also play a factor in Ilya and Brian Ortega, like a factor in Ortega neutralizing or even hurting Ilya on the feet. And he's a bigger guy. He's a bigger guy in there. So a lot of people are calling for Mazar Evelev. And he's got, he's 18-0. Like, only out of the 18-0, he only has, I believe, 3 KOs and 4 submissions. So 7 finishes and 18 wins. And everything in the UFC so far has been a decision win. 8 decision wins in a row. Obviously, he's winning. He's dominating fights, getting decisions. But I still feel like it's not going to be there as far as the buzz. Kind of like what Islam was doing, but he was at least finishing people. But, could be a lot of guys, even, they're clearing out the division, but they might not be as exciting. I think Khabib obviously kind of was exciting even with his style. It was still exciting just because he was so ferocious with it. Islam's a different animal. He was getting finishes, but it wasn't the most flamboyant or exciting way. So he wasn't as marketable maybe, at first. But he's definitely proven now to probably he is the best in the UFC right now, in my opinion. Islam Makhachev. So I think Evelev, he kind of falls into that same grappler heavy category. So he's not going to have the same buzz. Will he present a problem for Ilya? Most likely, most definitely. That's classic wrestler or grappler versus striker. Even though Ilya does have a background in grappling as well. So that's still an interesting matchup. But I can see that's the reason I'm saying it kind of almost does make sense. Like, say Ilya beats Brian Ortega in the next fight, he's third ranked, or if Volk comes back faster, or whatever happens, or Max gets the win against Gagey, and they fight at 306 or something, UFC 306, and O'Malley beats Merab, in that time period as well. Like this, because they both kind of fought in the same time period pretty much. So if that happens, then it does kind of make sense for their next fight. Maybe do one fight in your division. I think Uncle Dana would co-sign for something like that. Like one fight in your division, defend the belt. Sean, he defended it once, defend it one more time against a guy who probably should have had the shot even before Sean. Let's face it, Merab, but he had an injury. So the way he's pretty much been running through everybody. And then same thing with Ilya. Either fight Volk, or if Holloway gets this win, that opens the door for Holloway or Brian Ortega, one of those top 3. And then if they both of them win in 2025, that could maybe, or even UFC 306 or later in the year, maybe the Madison Square Garden card, whatever. I could see O'Malley versus Ilya happening, and that would be fireworks. I think it's a good matchup. At first, I was thinking, yeah, Ilya would kill him, and on the feet maybe he would, just because the boxing is probably a little better. Jan was able to get to him. A lot of people were able to get to O'Malley. Even Chito was. He just never busy enough, really. It got outworked and, just everything outstruck. But I also feel like O'Malley hits a lot harder than people think. And he has a good feint game, good distance management as well. That Superior does too. He don't really bite on feints much, and he has a lot of power. I get it, more explosive, but he's still going to have to cover some distance to get to O'Malley. I feel like O'Malley can maybe catch him clean or something. Maybe not just one shot to finish him, but you never know. He might be able to outpoint him and stay away. Volk has some success in that first round in their fight. A lot of people do. So you know, it's interesting. That's probably going to be later on in the line, though. I think these guys are both going to have to defend at least one more time in their division, Ilya for the first, and then see what's up. You know, then they could probably do the super fight, and it will make more sense. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think should be next for Sean O'Malley at bantamweight? Should it be Merab? Should it be Corey Sandhagen? Should it be Ilya? Obviously, I think it's probably general consensus is Merab. And then who do you think for Ilya? I think it's got to be between Volk, and it kind of depends on what happens with Holloway Gagey and Brian Ortega. And sorry, Mosvar, but I think you're going to have to do at least one more win, try to get that finish. But what do you guys think? Who should be their next opponents, if not each other? And that's all I got. Later.